Hey all, Kunik here, back with another D&D story. That's right, not a horror story, but a story. And this one is a bit more of a cautionary tale of what not to do as a DM. And with that said, let's roll for initiative and get on with the story. I DM a game that's been fairly long running and casually played between friends. At this point in the story, they are investigating a tomb that has been supposedly researched a long time ago, but a researcher had worked up a theory that there was a true tomb hidden deep below the false one that had already been explored. Entering into the dungeon, I thought I'd throw a group of shadows at the party to give them a spook. There's more than one barbarian and a warlock who make mincemeat out of every encounter, so I thought their strength draining ability might be a good way to get the blood pumping and get this dungeon started. The entire party successfully spotted the shadows hiding in the vaulted ceiling of the first antechamber inside, and were not subjected to a surprise round. They did, however, all fail to beat the shadows on initiative. Each player got hit once by a shadow, and all began to panic and freak out about their strength drain ability, and what would happen if they got to 0. The 8 strength warlock got hit twice and went down to 3 strength. Now, I had assumed they'd band together and clear the shadows off the party members with no strength to spare, saving the warlock. I wasn't going to hunt them down and try excessively to kill a PC after all. Instead, they spaced themselves out, taking care of the ones around themselves first, and the warlock missed her eldritch blasts. It got back to the shadow's turn once more with only 2 left standing, one of them on the warlock. He makes his attack, hit. I look at the player and say, if I roll a 3 or a 4 on this d4, you'll be at 0 strength, won't you? They nod. I roll the dice and wait and see. It's a 3. Turn 2. First room of the dungeon. PC outright dead. No clerics in the party, no access to revivify. Now, I was about to fudge the roll. I wanted to scare them, not to murder them that fast. But one of my players looks straight over the DM screen and right at my die, still sitting on a 3. I could have screamed. Of all the times to look over the screen, why then? The combat quickly wrapped up. Everyone looked pretty devastated, and I run fairly easy sessions with plenty of health pots and never go for downed players in general. This was our first PC death in this campaign. Now, I did have the researcher that had hired them waiting in the background to cast Gentle Repose, in case they want to abandon the dungeon and head back to town for now and find a cleric to help. But one of the players came up with an ingenious idea I decided to pay. I'd given him a sword that forced Constitution saving throws on a hit, and on a failed save, it saps 1 strength score from the opponent. He forced the sword into the warlock's hand and cut himself on the blade. Now, there's plenty of reasons why this shouldn't help, but honestly, that's some pretty clever thinking and a good out-of-the-box use for an item, so why not? After a short rest, the party was recovered enough to move on with the dungeon. But let me tell you, the atmosphere at the table has never been that tense. So, a warning to DMs. If a party has no way to save a character from instant death, consider carefully how and where to apply monsters that skip death saving throws, HP or AC. Definitely don't put them in the very first room, lest your player have to sit there and watch a whole session go by. End post. Honestly, that quick thinking by the player in using the sword to heal the warlock was utter genius, and a great save for the DM's mess up altogether. If a player in my game had done anything like that, dude would be getting a pizza delivered. That was glorious. That all said, the DM is right in his assumption in the last paragraph. If your party doesn't have a means to revive a character, you probably don't want to be throwing instant death enemies at them, unless the players have agreed on a brutally hard campaign. Anyhow, that's all for this story. If you liked it, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon to be notified of new videos. And if you'd also hit that like button next to them, I'd greatly appreciate it, as it's going to help us push this video to new audiences. As always, the source of this story is going to be in the description below, so feel free to check it out there if you want. And if you want to discuss the story in the comments, feel free to do so, and we can have a nice chat about it there too. Alright, that's it for this video. While you wait for a new video to come out, here are a few related videos you can check out.